Robinhood, ticker symbol HOOD, was on a run in the fall, added to the S&P 500, was just ripping. And when you look at the chart right now, it looks like a flaming, hot, smelly, stinky, nasty dumpster fire. And here's the question: can it recover? How long will it take to recover? And what are those key levels that we need to watch? Find out in today's video. Robinhood is trading at $68.86. It is down $1.25 today, 1.79%. But let's take a look at how we got here. And you can see that this thing just went on a ripper of a run in 2025. You could see that it made an early peak here in February of 2025 of 67.01, right around the price range where we are now. And then it started to decline. Again, this is part of Liberation Day, the tariff weakness that came into play. And it made a low last April of $29.58. And what did it do after it hit that low? Let's just measure that out from that low to the all-time high on this guy. And it went up $124. That's a 419% increase if you bought at those tariff lows. And Robinhood just went on a ripper. It had an amazing summer. And to make matters even better for the stock, in the fall, they were added to the S&P 500. And that's what catapulted them up to that all-time high where things started flying. Now, the one thing that we want to point out here is there is a relationship between how Hood trades and Bitcoin trades, the crypto space trades, because notice where this started showing weakness. And it was right around the time that Bitcoin hit its all-time high of $126,000. And you could see that Robinhood all-time high right around the same time. So it looks like you had equal all-time highs here on the 6th of October. And on the 10th of October, that is right around the time where Trump announced additional tariffs on China. And you could see at that point, things have never just been the same in recent time for Robinhood. And following those all-time highs, it dropped down. It tested that 50, which was normal for it. If we just look back over here to September 5th, it did that and popped higher. And after it retested the 50 here on the 22nd of October, it did push back up, but it was not able to reclaim those all-time highs. It did get up to $150.49 here on Halloween, spooky, spooky, but it could not reclaim those all-time highs. And what ended up being printed here was, yes, you could see this, we have a higher high, lower high, double top. If we just draw out the neckline here, you could see where the bears needed to squeeze the price action to confirm it and drop this thing lower. And drop this thing lower is what they did. And from there, we could see that the price pressed down through the 100 simple moving average on the daily chart. It did stick there for 2 days. It did actually find a bounce here on November 14th, but it wasn't able to hold on to that strength. And though it did bounce one more time, it set another lower high. And that really was the beginning of just a waterfall and a cascade downward, because you could see that this time when it got back down below the 100 simple moving average on December 12th, it has stayed there and it has not been able to get back above the 100 nor the 50. And we could see it just drip, 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 waterfall, cascade. And it did find a little bit of support here along the 200-day simple moving average, the last line in the sand, the last line of defense. And right here on the 28th of January, you thought maybe it'll get a bounce, but it didn't. And smash down it went. And right now we are below the point of control on the visible range volume profile. And just a few days later, you could see what occurred right here. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you are keeping score at home, that is a death cross, and that takes us to where we are present day with Robinhood. And you could see right now we're just moving sideways along this gap that was unfilled back from June. I can actually delete this now. But it's interesting to see that's where we're consolidating, moving sideways. And the question is, how soon is Hood going to recover? The one thing that we need to pay attention to is going to be the crypto markets, Bitcoin. When will Bitcoin start to rebound? Because until it does, it's probably going to continue in this downtrend. If we just measure out here from the all-time highs, and if we measure this to the lows, you could see that Robinhood is down over 58%, $90.79. So as explosive as a move that this had to the upside, it has fallen just as precipitously to the downside. And that's a pretty deep drop. It's pretty steep here, bear market territory for this company. And what you can see is down below, we have a few unfilled gaps. We have this gap here at $50.64, dating back to May 7th of last year, off the tariff weakness. And we have another unfilled gap here from April 22nd at 43.53. And if you go back even further to right here from November 5th, 2024, which is right around election time, you have another unfilled gap at 25.33. Now, obviously, if we are going to come down and test those levels, grab liquidity at 50.64, 43.53, or even 25.33, things will have to get worse. In the market, sentiment is going to have to become poor, and the conditions right now, let's be honest, are skewed to the downside. There's negative catalysts abound with the war between the United States and Iran. And if energy prices continue to soar and inflation fears continue to climb, that's going to pressure companies like Hood. It's going to pressure Bitcoin, risk on assets, which is going to have that corresponding impact on Robinhood. Robinhood needs the sentiment in the overall markets to change, to flip. Risk on needs to come back, or it's going to come lower. It can definitely fill these gaps below here, 50.64 at 43.53. But there is hope for things to flip. The sooner that this war effort gets taken care of, the sooner that this potentially can move to the upside. And let's just take a look at what some analysts are saying in terms of their price projections on Robinhood. And this is a feature that you can find here. If you just scroll down in the news area, you could see one-year price target when you click on see forecast, which I'll do right now. Why isn't that open? So what type of work will Robinhood have to do to start moving higher? We can see here, we're looking on the daily. We'll jump over here to the weekly and the monthly in a moment. But again, you could see that you do have this massive head and shoulders pattern here on the daily. And that's what we're dealing with now. This thing has definitely tumbled from those peaks. And again, we looked at the price area where we are now, but you can see what it has to contend with to the upside. Right now, if we're just looking at the visible range volume profile here on the right side, you can see you have two large volume nodes in between the price areas of 73.23 all the way up to 79.50. And we have our point of control here, this black line. This is where the majority of the interest is on this ticker at 74.65. So this is going to be the first area we want to watch. Can Robinhood climb above this price area? And if it's able to do that, then we have to look to see, all right, where is the next line of resistance? And that comes in here at the 50-day simple moving average, which just so happens to line up with this large volume node here. And that's going to be around 79.96. So those are the first two price areas between $74, $79. And then if it can get above that $79 range, you do have a free and clear path up here to the 100-day simple moving average at $100.37. But there is lots and lots of work for this ticker to do to get moving. We are seeing that it is not oversold at this point. It has come off of those oversold levels, those deep oversold levels from early February. But it is still hanging out near the bottom on the RSI, showing that there's not a lot of momentum here. The first step for this guy to get back into the game is to reclaim the 10-day exponential moving average on the daily, which it has not done since March 17th, where it poked its head above and closed briefly there. But that's going to be the first step. So there is quite a lot of work to do there on the daily chart. When we come over here to the weekly, this is very interesting. And this is why you have to look at multiple time frames. You can see that head and shoulders pattern very clearly here on the weekly as well, which is good for confirmation. But notice where we are finding a bounce right here on the 100 simple moving average on the weekly. Let's see if that holds. And if we look here, we can see we have resistance right at 79.50, which does line up with that 50-day simple moving average on the daily. And above that, we are able to push up into 99.23. This is your 50 simple moving average on the weekly, which also corresponds with that 100 on the daily. So there is room up to 79 and then above 79 up to 99 or $100. And check this out, guys. We have this unfilled gap on the weekly right here at 99.13, which just so happens to line up with that 50 SMA on the weekly. Isn't it crazy how that happens? So there's definitely going to be magnetic forces if this thing pushes to where it will pull the price action and where we could look for rejection. So watch that area. And then lastly, let's take a look at this monthly chart here, just for a bigger look at what is happening. That's just a beautiful reversal, but potentially maybe this is a wave 1, 2, 3. This is a 4, and we're getting ready to head into a wave 5. If we're doing an Elliott wave count, we'll have to see. Again, this could just be a little normal correction, but there is no question about it that Robinhood has been struggling here as of late.
So there you have it. Analysis of ticker symbol HOOD, Robinhood. Is it going to rebound and bounce, or are we coming lower? What's going to happen to Robinhood here over the next couple of months? I would love to hear your take. And as always, thank you for supporting the channel. Make it a great day, honor the moment, and most importantly, be grateful. Take care, everyone.